forward like my mama, drink like granddad, smoke sluggies like the other. But granddad feels the guts. Hustler like my uncle JT or cousin Big B. I got big dreams like Jimmy Lee. Now my aim is just running for any means. Keep a job like Uncle Kevin told me. Top notch player like Dave. And they caddy things since the 80s. Slab, big corporate thug and political like Jack. Maybe rest in peace, but I've been talking a lot. See, it's hot head wasn't scared to get running or leave the beats. See, can't play me like I'm a pawn in the game. Chess, jokes look like Big Kenny and Ski. G like Jarrell, Journey. The trigger happy, getting about my family. Alone like my granny, Lula. Chuckling, giggling, hunching my shoulders like my daddy's and the lead. Routed like them Tyson seeds. The spiritual like rewards. A go-getter like Arian, a religious, romantic career like no one you know ever. Also like Uno, a soldier's untold story like my bro, Deep Bird. And cousin Ray not gonna get aim like Bird. And free man be like John and Gene. I can be man, it's respectful, tattoo, a different breed.
I appreciate everyone hopping on. We're going to get started momentarily. Hey, what's up, cuz? Thanks for hopping on. Right on. Hey, champions, welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson. I'm sitting in my office here in the STL, and it is a pleasure, it's a privilege and honor to be back before you tonight. I apologize for the tardiness. I was actually in prayer because I had an individual call me about 20 minutes ago. And when you are really in tune with God and you're really talking to God and you're just having that personal conversation with the Most High, you sometimes don't worry about time. You don't worry about what's going on. You don't worry about the fact that you might have lost track of time. So that's what happened with me a few minutes ago. I was literally in prayer about a situation, and they asked me to pray for them about a certain situation involving their job. And so I wanted to do that and then lost track of time. So here I am. Thanks so much to everyone hopping on. And I wanted to share with you something because while I was praying, I want to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was going to talk about tonight until about 15 minutes ago, while I was praying, while I was in tune in the spirit realm. And I wanted to talk to you about from this perspective. Be thankful for the weapons that form against you. Be thankful for them. As I said, I was praying about a situation involving a friend of mine who is having some issues on her job. And so she asked me if I would pray for her, that we, touch and agree that whatever case that they're trying to build up against her, that it's not going to prosper. And so when I thought about that, I thought about situations that I've been in on jobs that I've had in the past where there were things that were done where people tried to sabotage me, where people tried to say all manner of things against me, this, that, and the other. But one thing that I have assurance in knowing is that the weapons were not going to prosper. And the thing about this is we've heard that term, we've heard that scripture that talks about no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And that's true. But one of the things that I've learned, especially over the storms that I've dealt with over the last couple years, is that nowhere in that scripture that it said the weapons would not form. So the thing is, When you get to a point in your life when you get to tell your story and you get to tell your quote unquote testimony, you cannot be afraid to talk about all of it. You got to be able to talk about all of it. You got to be able to own all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Because if you remove just a piece, if you remove any part of what has happened to you, the whole story changes. The whole story changes. It is not the same. But when you're able to talk about it, you come off as sincere, you come off as authentic, you come off as transparent. And because we live in a society where there are a lot of people who walk around portraying themselves as something that they're not, and we see it every day on social media, where you have these people wearing these proverbial masks. They smile in your face 1 minute, and then they talk about you like a dog behind closed doors. What happens is when you are authentic and you can own up to your own stuff, and you are not ashamed to talk about what you have gone through, not the stuff that just make you look good, but the lessons that you've learned along the way, because there are some good lessons, there are some easy lessons, but I'm talking about those hard lessons that you learned along the way. Those lessons that have caused you to cry from time to time. Those lessons that have had you questioning certain things, certain aspects of your life, maybe things that you were taught as a child, and then life punched you in the mouth. And then you get to this point, you get to this place where you really start to evaluate yourself. You start to evaluate where you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And you get to this point where it really doesn't matter anymore what people have to say, because you get to a point where you are like literally in survival mode. You are literally in the fight for your life. And what I've learned from that is that's when the real you comes out. That's when the real you begins to shine bright like a diamond. And if you've been on before, you've heard me say this before, because I learned this from one of my mentors, Arian Tyson. He always used to say that everybody wants to be a diamond, but they're afraid to get cut. And the thing about it is, diamonds do not form unless there's pressure involved. What is that pressure? Pressure, it involves stress. It involves things not going your way. It involves curveballs being thrown in your life, whereas you had your life mapped out, and then all of a sudden something happened where it brought you to your knees, or something out of the ordinary happened that you never expected to happen. And see, the reason I bring this up, the reason that I believe that God dropped this in my spirit, because I looked at the calendar. Because I'm looking at the calendar. Now, for those who don't know, we had a celebrity pass away this past weekend. His name was Dennis Edwards. Dennis Edwards was one of the lead vocalists for The Temptations. Why do I bring that up? It wasn't just the fact that he died right before his birthday, but it made me think about my father. And for those who know me, those who really know me, really know my story, really have been following me over the last couple years, I mentioned about those proverbial curveballs that get thrown. Well, I'm gonna rewind the clock almost 2 years to the day. And why do I say this? Because this coming Sunday is my birthday. But then the following Saturday will make 2 years to the day that I suddenly lost my father. My father loved the Temptations. That's where I get it from. My love for the Temptations comes from my father. And so when I look at the fact that my father passed right before his birthday, because his birthday is next month. Well, we were planning a celebration for his birthday because he was going to be 65 at the time. He didn't live to be 65. And the thing about it is, you can't, when something like that out of the ordinary happens, you can't look at life the same way. You're not going to look at life the same way. You're going to get to the point where you begin to have a hunger to make your life count for something like never before. And the reason I say that is because you begin to start realizing that, yes, you are mortal. You get to the point that you don't have as much time as you think you do. And so when you make a decision to make that change, to make an adjustment, because life has ultimately brought you to your knees, there are going to be some weapons that come up against you. When you decide to step out on faith and do what's contrary to what everybody else is doing, there are going to be some weapons that begin to form against you. But here's the thing. You have to be thankful for those weapons that form against you. And the reason I say that is because it lets you know that something big is coming. It lets you know that something is on the way, that some type of blessing, some type of breakthrough is on the way. It lets you know it's a check that you are on the right track. It's a check that somebody is watching you and they've noticed a shift. And in order for you to get to the next level, there are going to be several things that you're going to have to shift in your life in order for you to elevate to the place and space that you want to be. You're going to have to shift your circle. You're going to have to shift when it comes to certain places that you used to go. In this season, you're going to have to do some things differently if you want things to change, if you want things to turn around. You can't do the same thing that you were doing last year or the year before and expect things to be different. You're going to have to level up. You're going to have to take it up another notch. And what I'm learning is, even in my own life, when you begin to make a shift, when you make a decision that you deserve more out of life, you deserve more than what life has presented to you, people start to switch up on you. People start to notice a change in you, and they adapt that crabs in the barrel mentality, because they don't like when you change, because they've gotten so used to you being in this box that they put you in. So when you decide to step out of the box or step out of the barrel or step out of your comfort zone, what happens is they don't like it, because that's not what they're used to. What I want to encourage you to do, for those that are watching tonight, is to keep going anyhow. Because even when those weapons form against you, even when people turn their backs on you, even when people betray you, even when people throw slander on your name, and I'm speaking from personal experience when I say that, publicly and privately, even when that happens, be thankful anyhow. Because if you were not on the right track, the stuff would not be coming up. The enemy would not be attacking you. The enemy would not be trying to throw you off course. The enemy would not be trying to derail you. The enemy would not be trying to attack you by attacking the people closest to you if you were not on the right track. But because you are on the right track, because the enemy has gotten a glimpse of your future, And they see that it's bright, and they see that you're going to higher heights and deeper depths, and you are elevating in your thought process. You're not just accepting what people say to you, but you're actually doing your due diligence and you're researching things. And no matter what you say, you can back up what you say. When you get to that point, you realize that the best is on the way. That your breakthrough, like there are so many people that are so close to their breakthrough. That's when the attacks speed up. That's when the attacks become more frequent. When you're that close, when you're this close to your breakthrough. You've often heard it said where it's darkest before dawn. And that's true. Because I've actually have seen the sunrise. And it is true that it's actually darkest before dawn. Think about where you are in your life. Think about the things that you have set out to do, the things that you set out to accomplish. Think about the things you have accomplished. Isn't it more gratifying when you accomplish it, but you went through some stuff in order to get to that point? You appreciate it because you had to fight for it, because it wasn't handed to you. It wasn't gifted to you on a silver platter. That you actually put some work in order for those things to be accomplished, in order for those goals to become manifested. And you have to realize that in the midst of the weapons forming, you see who's really for you. You see who's really against you. And you ultimately see who's just leeching off of you. And I challenge you to do something in 2018 that you've never done before. Make a decision that you're going to step out on faith and you're going to do something that you've never done. And pay attention to who applauds you. Pay attention to those that actually support you. And I'm not just talking about lip service. I'm talking about putting their money where their mouth is. I'm telling you what I know because I'm living this right now. Because I see that there are some people that I haven't seen on before, I haven't seen on in a while. And so one of the reasons I mentioned that is I wrote a book recently. And I actually had a chance to bless an individual who has wrote a book in their own right. And I actually had a chance to meet a young lady who has a phenomenal story. And I'm almost finished reading her book. But I met her recently. And you may have heard of her. And she's a comedian, she's an actress, and she was in a very popular movie last year entitled Girls Trip. Her name is Tiffany Haddish. And I actually had a chance to meet her. It'll be 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks this coming Friday since I met her. And we had a conversation after her show. And I actually had a chance to bless her with my book. And she literally told me to my face, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Brother, you are on the right track. I feel your energy. I feel that you are so close to your breakthrough that all you have to do is just stay the course. And I'm telling you what I know because the same thing happened to me." That is literally what she told me to my face as we were signing each other's books, because she signed my book. Like, I have her book right here. She signed my copy of her book. And she literally signed it and said, "You're ready." you're ready. And that's what I want to tell you tonight. Even when the weapons begin to form, it means that you're ready to break through. And the thing is, as long as you don't break down, your breakthrough is imminent. It's going to happen. It is on the way. As long as you stay the course, as long as you maintain course, as long as you maintain your level of focus, as long as you get to the point where you decide that you're going to be forever on course until you're successful. Because you have failed enough. But the only way that you truly fail is to not even try. And I don't even respect that word try, because either you're going to do something or you're not going to do it. It is that simple, because we prioritize the things that we really want to do. Let's keep it 100, because we're all grown. We prioritize what we want out of life. We prioritize the things that we feel matter. And what matters to you might not necessarily matter to someone else. It mattered to me that I was able to bless Tiffany with my book. It mattered to me that I had a chance, that I would have an opportunity to speak to her directly, because I don't know what's going to happen. She could read the book and be inspired by it and tell her following, you need to pick up this book. How will I know? How would that possibly happen if I didn't position myself to even be able to give her the book, to even let her know that the book existed, or for her to even sign my book? You're going to have to step out on faith. That's the point. You're going to have to do some things. You're going to have to let go of conventional wisdom in this season. You're going to have to let it go for a little while. And if you want to break through, you're going to have to do some things that you have never done. And regardless to who supports you, it doesn't matter. Because when you hunger after something, when you thirst after something, that means that you will not rest, or you will not be satisfied until it happens. And you have to be mindful of the things that you say, the things that you speak to your subconscious mind. And you also have to be mindful and careful who you tell your dreams to, who you tell your vision to, who you tell your goals to. Because those that say that they love you, everybody that says they love you don't support you. Because I've even realized since I've released this book that there have been many people that I have acknowledged in this book, but they'll never know. And the reason that they'll never know is because for whatever reason, they haven't gotten the book. Once they get the book, then they'll know. Because I feel that I shouldn't have to tell somebody that they're acknowledged in order for them to get the book. This is something I've never done. This is something I've never attempted to do. And pulled it off. And it actually came together quite nicely. And so with that, it gets to a point where you have to decide for yourself, regardless to who supports you, regardless to who's in your corner, regardless to who says they support you, but they really don't. Or even if they do support you, you have to get to a point that by whatever means necessary, as long as you're not hurting anyone, that you're going to be victorious, that you are going to be able to be a blessing and be blessed as a result of it. Be thankful for all the weapons that have formed against you. Why? Because it has made you who you are now. And Veronica, I am encouraged Because the reason being is because it is an eye-opening experience, and it serves as a lesson learned, because you really see who's for you and who's not for you. Because as we elevate to this next level, it's more people at the base of the mountain than it is at the mountaintop. And as you climb up that mountain, people are going to fall off. No matter how long they've known you, no matter how long they've said that they love you, that they support you, it doesn't matter. Everybody can't go with you. In the journey of life, people enter your life for reasons and seasons. Very few of them enter it for a lifetime. Very few. But it does not mean that they have not served their purpose. And sometimes, because we're humans and we're emotional, by nature, we get to a point where we become guilty sometimes of putting temporary people that are meant to be temporary, in permanent positions. And then when we realize that they're temporary people, and we've made the mistake of putting them in a permanent position, we feel a certain way about it. We feel like we wasted our time. We feel like we've been abandoned, etc. But there's a lesson behind it. And if we don't learn the lessons behind it, history is going to repeat itself. So that's why I'm saying be thankful for everything, because you take one chapter, you remove one chapter out of what has happened in any part of your life, your book that you're writing is entirely different. It changes the dynamic of your book. It changes the dynamic of your story. And I've said it before as I wrap up. There is power in our stories. And nobody can tell our stories better than us. You have the power to change the direction of your story. It's okay to put a period and turn the page and start writing another chapter. Don't get caught up in putting commas. Some things are meant to have a period behind it. Turn the page and start writing again. I don't know what chapter you're on. I'm having a chapter end, because I call this chapter 34, because on Sunday I'll be 35. So chapter 35 will begin officially Sunday. And when I think about what has happened to me in this chapter 34 of my life, it hasn't been flawless. I've had some things happen to me. I've had some setbacks. But I can assure you that even with those setbacks, chapter 34 has been the best chapter of my life, after chapter 33 was the worst chapter of my life. And it's amazing how life can turn around in a year. But it turns around when you decide to make a decision that you deserve more than this, that you're better than your present circumstance, because your present circumstance is just that. It's your present circumstance. It does not define you unless you decide to let it define you. And I made it a point that regardless to who leaves, regardless to who walks away, regardless to those who stay by me and support me, and I appreciate them from the bottom of my heart, because I know who they are. The thing about this, when it all boils down to it, at the end of the day, you get to a point where the opinions of those who have shown no support to you no longer matters. It'll hurt for a while, but it's necessary. Everything that I've gone through, everything that I've endured, from the time that my father died suddenly on February 17, 2016, it's coming up on 2 years to the very day that I stood over his lifeless body. And I think about how my birthday is this Sunday. And I think about how that weekend of my birthday, that was the last time I saw my father alive. And I never thought that 4 days after I saw my father, that would be the last time I see him alive. And rest assured, I'm at a place right now, Veronica, where I'm not listening to the people in the stands. Someone used to tell me, never mind their faces. And I have carried that with me. Tracy, I appreciate you more than you really know. And I know that we haven't really spoke like we have in the past and this, that, and the other. But I appreciate you watching. I appreciate what you have invested into me going back to 2013 when we met. And so I didn't have to put a Facebook post. I'm telling you directly. You're hearing it from my mouth. So you know it's genuine. You know it's authentic because you feel it. I wasn't expecting you to be on, but I'm thankful that you are on. And I'm thankful that you have gotten some out of it because I know who holds the future. And regardless to what happens next, I ultimately know who holds my hand. And that's what I want to leave you all with tonight. Be thankful for the weapons that have formed against you. And the very reason being is because it reminds you that your breakthrough is not only on the way, it is imminent. And nothing, no circumstance, nobody can stop you. One of the things that I live by is my biggest enemy is me, and even I can't stop me. So what makes you think I'm going to let the circumstances of life stop me? What makes you think I'm going to let people stop me? If I can't stop me, and I'm my worst enemy, ain't no devil in hell going to stop me from accomplishing and living out my God-given purpose. With that being said, thank you so much to everyone that has hopped on. Again, if you have not already done so, feel free to get a copy of my brand new book. It is entitled Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. It is available at www.lovemeorhateme.org. Again, that's www.lovemeorhateme.org. As always, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you most certainly cannot do both. I will be traveling this weekend to Dallas, Texas. I am going to do, my intention is to be back before you next Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I will be in Dallas because I'm going to Dallas to visit family and be there for my birthday because I've never been to Dallas. And ironically, I thought that I was going to be in Dallas this time, like literally living in Dallas. But life said otherwise. But I'm still going to celebrate my birthday in Dallas. And so I'm just thankful to everyone for the support. And I'm going to let you all go. Have a blessed and prosperous rest of the evening. And I will talk to you all later. Peace.